Good morning, everybody. I'm Tommy Scoville, and you're on the lifeboat. Monday morning. This is just a brutal day, isn't it? Mondays are just no fun all the way around. So, if you saw um, the thumbnail and the subject for today don't seem to match very well, and there's really kind of a reason for that. Um, First of all, before we get rolling, Seventh, do you really have no ability to make coffee? Can't you call 911 or something? That's a that's like a legitimate emergency, isn't it? Yeah, I mean that's pretty heavy stuff. Really, really heavy stuff. Okay, so sometimes, this is a better way to do it. I got a bunch of emails, and I got hey Snotface, good to see you. Got a bunch of emails yesterday from new people that have questions, and to be perfectly honest, there has never been a question that is not answered somewhere in past videos. I don't expect anybody though to try to go and watch 1,000 hours of us talking. So every once in a while, we'll come on and do a little Q&A thing, but I'm not doing that today. But the reason I said that is I got an email from somebody that said, "What is your process like in terms of getting all of this going?" And it's one of the funniest things. I don't have a process. I think that's really, really funny. So when I say off script Monday, we really don't. We're really never on script, but usually we have a pretty good idea. Skywalker, good to see you. Usually we have some idea of where I'm taking the subject. This Monday morning, is a little different because I've been getting a lot more sleep, so I don't spend as much time in reading as I used to. Hey, Emma Hunt, glad you're here. So some of the stuff that I've been reading is absolutely fascinating, and I wish that I could sort of dive deeper into it. But this sleep thing, because of how bad my head has been, the sleep thing has become a pretty important part of my day. Didn't used to be, but now I'm getting considerably more sleep, which means I'm doing a lot less time reading. But I had read the book Dopamine Nation, which is a great book. If you haven't read Dopamine Nation, you should. And then I was reading some papers written by the author of Dopamine Nation, and it's a pretty fascinating subject. And I think the more that I read into this, the more I realize that I might not be teaching the dopamine thing 100% right. And it's not that I think everybody's screwing up. If the research is correct, then basically everyone is screwing up. And what I mean by that is this. We tend to think that dopamine is attached to pleasure, right? So if you're having a good time, you're going to get some dopamine. It's really not the case. And there's a lot of proof to, there's really a lot of proof to this. And those of us who have been addicts know that by the time you're ready to quit, you hate your substance. You know what I mean? Like if you're trying to quit cigarettes and you've been trying for a year, you're not catching all kinds of fun from your cigarettes, right? It's we can't stop. What dopamine really does is it leads you, right? It tells you that you need more of something. Doesn't mean you're having a good time. It just means you have to have more of it. And sometimes what flips our switch for dopamine just doesn't make sense. So when we talk about the malfunctioning reward center of the brain, this is what we're talking about. So they've been doing these studies with kids, and if you've ever had a child, then you have a pretty good idea of what it's like when you try to put them to bed, right? And I'm old. So when I was trying to put my kid in bed, he didn't have internet access. And some of the things that kids have today, now kids might be watching something on cartoons on YouTube or whatever before they go to sleep. For me, it was the Game Boy. And I would go in and tell my son, I'd be like, Spanx, that's you're done. Like it's time to go to bed. And you get the absolute freaking out and screaming and, 5 more minutes, 5 more minutes, 5 more minutes. But Dad, there's a lot of science that says if you can take that thing, right, and grab it and go, no more of this, and basically get that puppy behind your back so that your child cannot see what it is they want, you only really got to keep them occupied, conversing, whatever, for about 3 minutes. That desire will be gone. right? Completely. The interesting thing about this is this translates to adults. It really does. And we've talked about this in similar fashion before. When you get that urge and you feel like, you know what, I can't do this. I'm gonna relapse. I'm gonna freak out. I can't do this. I can't do this. Man, you don't need 24 hours of distraction. You need about 3 minutes of distraction. That doesn't mean you can't keep thinking about it, right? If you allow that automatic negative thought to completely occupy you, one thought after another, after another, after another, then most assuredly you can do that all day long. And if you do, you're going to relapse. But if you break the cycle of that feeling, you don't have to break it for long. 3 minutes, 3 minutes. So change what you're looking at. Get up, go outside, walk around. By the way, I wanted to do that this morning. This morning I have a gimbal, right? And if you ever seen how a gimbal works, you can walk around with your phone and you don't get that, that jumping around thing that looks like whatever the hell the name of that movie was in the 90s. Blair Witch, the thing just made you sick. From a cold South Africa. Jana, good to see you. Glad you're back. So I wanted to go out this morning with the gimbal, and I was going to take you guys on my walking route because it's a good. I could do probably the entire show, and it will make you, without even you being here, without even you having the smell, all of the bombarding of the senses, it will change you just watching it, and I can prove it to you. Right? Have you ever watched one of those videos where some jackwagon is like, 1,000 feet off the ground and he's holding on by the two fingers, right? And he's filming with one hand and you're just like, right? You feel like your stomach has just dropped out. You get that super uncomfortable feeling. You're not there. There's no chance in hell if that guy falls that you're going to be in any kind of pain. But your brain sees that super high distance and goes, oh, God, no, right? So the proof is, if you're sitting there and all you can think about is, I got to get a drink, I got to get a drink, I got to get a drink, get the hell out of wherever you're at, right? Get up, get outside, walk around. I don't care, I'm not in the country, I don't have great paths. I don't give a crap. Walk down the city street. Smell that nasty exhaust that comes out of cars as you bombard your sentences with different things, right? As long as you bombard your senses with something other than what you were just doing a minute ago, you're going to get through that 3 minutes. And once you get through that 3 minutes, the desire is gone. See, I almost said Jones. I'm confusing people in other countries. So Jana, I apologize. I had another email from somebody from another country that was going through some of the things that I say, like cat. When I use the term cat instead of man or person, like that cat's crazy, that kind of thing. I know that my slang is probably confusing people, and I apologize for that. I play a cooking game on my tablet. Wow, I didn't realize there were cooking games. I played a cooking game on my tablet to refocus myself. It's timed, so it challenges me with my full attention. I get stressed cleaning the house or whatever. I go walk away to my to my chill spot. Grace, that's awesome. And it's a perfect example. Now, and one of the reasons it's really a perfect example is this. You got that kid that's watching the computer, right? He's doing YouTube videos of cartoons and freaking out. Dad, one more. Let me watch one more. And you say, all right, you can watch one more. And when they came back, one more, just one more. If you take that child to an app that does something completely different than the cartoon does, right? Now you think to yourself, wow, the kid's freaking out because he loves cartoons. No, the kid's freaking out because dopamine is telling him he needs cartoons. The dopamine is telling your child that they need that next episode. Insane, right? But it is an absolute fact. So if you were to take your child and get them, it must get confusing in about 4 months. I'm going to start service at H&I's. I have no idea what that means. See, a little bit of a, you're going to start service at H&I's. Anybody, Jana, if you can explain to me what service is, I'd be interested. So yeah, if they can see their desire, it's going to drive them nuts. But if you take them, use that same thing, right? That same tablet, that same computer, that same whatever, and you bring them to something that is educational to get to the next, level or whatever, they got to do 4 math problems, right? They have to read something and then answer the things. They're not going to get dopamine telling them to get to that next thing, right? The chances are, if you get them to a learning app, they are not going to get something that they're not going to get the dopamine hit that says you have to have this. Why am I telling you this? Most of us, our kids are completely grown because this research goes right over to us. So if you're looking at your phone 400 times a day to check your emails, that's an issue, right? That is an issue. I need to find a place where I can walk and feel safe at the same time. Annette, I get that. There are a lot of other people that say the same thing. It's an NA term. Oh, I gotcha. To volunteer, to do step work and chair meetings. Very cool. Very cool. I was not familiar with that. But that's awesome. And I'll tell you something, people. That's going to do wonders for Jenna. It is. There's science behind it. It's going to do wonders. When you, every day somebody writes me an email and says, dealing with people's problems all day long is going to make you relapse. Dealing with all of the emotions of all of what other people are going through. And, we've lost some people, and it hurts like hell when somebody overdoses or somebody takes their life or whatever. It's really, really a bummer. But I find it a whole lot easier to concentrate on other people's problems a couple of times a day than concentrate on my own. And I seem to be able to give much better advice when I'm not the one involved. I think I may have an issue with coffee. I did not like the way for panic it washed over me. Yeah, with my coffee carafe broke this morning. I get that. I absolutely get that. And I'll tell you something. Of course you do. Caffeine is a drug. But as I've said multiple times on this, as I've said hundreds of times on this channel, I am not anti-drug, right? I'm not. I'm anti-addiction, not anti-drug. I think drugs have their place. It's just I'm not somebody that can do them, right? So here's the bottom line. I take caffeine every single morning. Caffeine's a drug. I do not get my day going very well without it. But it's not a drug that's causing me to steal things. It's not a drug that is causing me to have problems in my life, and yet I continue to do the drug. That's addiction, right? When you know that something really bad is happening and you can't stop doing what you're doing. If I keep doing heroin, I'm going to go back to prison. If I keep doing heroin, I'm going to go back to prison. I said that crap right until they arrested me. As a public librarian, I love being able to solve problems for people and have them walk away happy. It's just a good feeling for the patron and myself. I love that, snot-faced. And there is absolute science to back up the fact that we get a cocktail of brain chemicals when we help people. A cocktail, not just getting, endorphins or oxytocin. We're getting everything. The number of neurotransmitters and cool brain drugs that we get when we help people is absolutely incredible. And that's addicting too. But there's nothing wrong with being addicted to helping people, right? Perspective. Have to step outside ourselves and take a look in, reflect. I treated myself like I do others. If I treated myself like I do others, I would be well looked after. And it's a really excellent point. Honestly, if a friend treated you the way you treated yourself, you'd get rid of that friend quickly, right? Quickly. I wouldn't have somebody around that tells me I'm a loser. Wouldn't have somebody that tells me around that tells me I'm not good enough. Why would I have that friend anywhere near me? But the automatic negative thoughts, right? Will tell you that all day long, every day. Don't treat yourself like trash. It makes it really helping people helps me clean. Helping people helps me stay sober. It really does. And what I think is awesome is I'll talk to people who are 4 or 5 days off of opiates, right? Well, opiates are my problem. That was my drug of choice. And I mean, I talk about heroin a lot, but I started off with pain pills. I didn't start with heroin. I climbed the ladder until I got all the way to tar. I self-talk that I'm a loser all the time. Well, that's got to stop, Skywalker. That has to stop. Because that right there is a self-fulfilling prophecy. If you continue to tell yourself all day, every day that there's something wrong with you, whatever you're telling yourself will absolutely come true. I proved that for a very long time. Yeah. I mean, for a very, very long period of time in my life, I I talked trash about me all day. And it drove me to places like prison. It drove me to a place where, I had to put needles in my arm to get out of bed. Seventh son. Oh. Oh, that one's funny. Seventh son, you're not always spot on. Your humor sometimes I miss, but that was a good one. Words have power because they are energy. And be kind and gentle towards yourself, Skywalker. The world is mean enough. We care. Absolutely. The world is mean enough, right? Why would you do it to yourself? Well, because it is habit forming. It is habit forming. And it's one of those things that, like these days, if I find myself saying, you know what, man, I suck at that. I just am not good at that. I go, whoa, right? It's time to pump the brakes instantly. You have to come to grips with the things you're saying about yourself. It can become second nature. You can get to a point where you do it so often. Ultramaga says, I never could tell myself I'm a loser, but I'm always obsessing whether or not I'm doing things right or wrong. It's a problem sometimes. Point where I lose sleep. You know what? I give all of you the permission to fail. All right? It's a dispensation. There you go. All of you have permission to fail. You will learn a hell of a lot by failing. And you know something? It's not the end of the world, right? Failure's not permanent. And success isn't either, right? Success lasts a hell of a lot shorter period of time. But failure is the opportunity for you to make changes that are going to get you where you need to go. Right? It's going to get you where you need to go. You have to have building blocks to take you from one place to another. Failure to fail is failure to succeed. Oh, I like that. I might put that up there. That's actually kind of cool. Hey, Z! Zenwin, good to see you. Much love, everyone. Just woke up. Just listening. Big hello to the whole boat. Well, we're glad that you're here. Yeah, you know something? I think that there's an epidemic in the world that everybody is so afraid to fail. Everybody is so afraid to get that feeling like they did something wrong that they stop trying. We don't push ourselves. Trainee human, good to see you. We don't push ourselves. If you're not challenging yourself, you're going to go insane. I promise you. You're going to stagnate. You know the proof to this, right? If anybody that has ever done time, anybody that has ever been incarcerated, and you find yourself locked up, well, you're not going to go get, you're not climbing a ladder in a job, right? You're working for 11 cents an hour, right? And there's no way to promote other than time. So you do a year of that and you might get bumped up to 29 cents. And if you max that out, you're going to get to 40 cents an hour. Big money, right? Big money. So there is so little room for you to challenge yourself that I watched people go insane. You have to set little goals and you have to continue to try. You have to constantly be pushing yourself. This is why I say that it is a very interesting. Hold on one second. Thomas Edison once said, I have not failed 10,000 times. I've successfully found 10,000 ways that did not work. That's right. They said, how could you keep going after 10,000, 9,900? And I said, I found almost 10,000 ways not to make a light bulb. Perfectionism is definitely an issue for me. Well, once you realize that, right, then you really have to start pumping the brakes. You have to reprogram your brain. Goosebumps, you are in a fantastic position. If you can say, and this goes to everybody, if you can say straight out, right, perfectionism is definitely an issue for me. Wait, you've identified your issue? Well, that's awesome, isn't it? I mean, that's freaking awesome. You realize how many people will be screwed up for decades and not realize what their problem is? That's why I tell everyone you have to journal. You will never tell yourself what the problem is. Your journal will be brutally honest with you and tell you everything you need to know. I read earlier from Full of Hope, I'm buying my journals in bulk. That is the coolest thing I've read in a very long time. Buy your journals in bulk. If you're filling out that much stuff, then you are progressing at a rate that is incredible. I promise, at a rate that's incredible. The more you can determine what your issue is, the better chance you got of fixing it, right? If you know that perfectionism is a problem for you, then you need to start concentrating on things that you're not good at. Go out there and start doing something that you really suck at. That's more than the Sea Org members earn in the Church of Scientology. Wow. The Facebook group name is The Lifeboat. And if you go over there and you have to be approved, but if you go over there, Jan, I'll make sure that you get approved today. It is called The Lifeboat. So do something that you suck at. You've known this for 3 decades. You know what I would do? I would take up golf. Golf's a great one. Nobody masters golf. You say, boy, Tiger Woods had the hang of it. Yeah, but at least 4 times in every single round, he'd hit one into the trees, and he was the best, right, ever. He was really the greatest one that we ever saw, and he sucked half the time. Look at baseball players. You get up into the box, and they throw a baseball that you're supposed to hit. If you can strike out only 7 out of every 10 times, you're awesome, right? If you can strike out only 6 times out of every 10, you're the best that ever lived. Only one person ever had a batting average over 400, which means they fail 60% of the time, and they're professionals. Take up a hobby that you're going to suck at and get good. I suck at a lot. I better get started. It will be a long, humiliating day. You know what? Let me tell you something. If you go back to the early days of the Lifeboat, I did a lot of videos that just sucked. Even to this day, I do a lot of videos that sucked. I scored par on the first hole of golf I ever played. You should have quit right then, M. Hunt. I'd have walked right off the green and said, I did it. I'm done. I'm not playing this game ever again. The first time I ever took my brother, like Johnny had hit on like driving ranges, had never played the game. He went out and the 2 of us were gambling with 2 other brothers and playing the ball down, not rolling it over. Just playing legit golf. He was in the low 80s. He just went out there and killed it. And it was frustrating to watch. I beat him, but I don't think I beat him by much. And I was playing a ton of golf. Hold on. I am hoping to go sing this week. Everyone around me will be drunk, but I'm going to plug my nose and sing my heart out. You know what? I know people that can handle it. Whether or not you can, Lemmy, you're the only one that can answer that. But I was talking to Mama Scobo about this the other day. I knew a guy who was a bartender and a recovered alcoholic. Only our creator is perfect. Damn straight. Some artists put a purposeful imperfection in their art, woven rugs, whatever. Yeah, that's absolutely the truth. I've read that about people that make things as a tribute to the higher power. They're never even going to try to make something that's perfect. Full of Hope says, I'm fixing car brakes. Good Lord. That's a tall order right there. It really is. Yeah, you do need coffee. Ask Seven's son. He seems to be doing a great job at playing. Don't plug your nose. You will sound like you are in a fish tank. I want to tell you something. Singing is good for the soul. There's absolutely no doubt about that. And it's a fact. It really is. There's science to back that up. Singing, whether you're good at it or not, is just fantastic. That's funny. That is funny. So that really is. That's funny. Just balancing them. Oh, okay. Stand for truth. Good to see you. Long time no see. I'm glad that you're here, man. Really glad that you're here. Awesome. disc or drum, my Irish friend. So this imperfection thing, right? Uh, I have done 900 and we've done like 955 videos. So of that, I've done probably 900 of them, maybe a little bit more than that. And if I'm really honest with myself, I would say that probably 35% of them suck. I mean, for real, there's about Hazy Giggles, good to see you. There's about 35% of them that are just plain not good, right? And I don't mean because I didn't have a subject matter or whatever. I just mean because I never sort of found a rhythm, you know. Nearly 4 months, no alcohol. Good for you, Stand for Truth. That's awesome. That is awesome. Good stuff. Good stuff. Let's try that one more time. There we go. So it's not a big deal to do something that you're not good at. If you look at anybody on this platform that got to any kind of finish line, right? People that have hit that rung of success that YouTubers would call them a success. I thought the boat was successful at 1,000 people because the people that were showing up were helping one another. So it really didn't matter if I sucked because what the boat was supposed to do is exactly what you guys are doing. It was supposed to bring like-minded individuals together who were all sober so that we could celebrate our victories and we could own the things that we've done without somebody judging us. That was what the boat was all about from day one. So if I'm not having a great day here, as long as I'm here, right, it's not that big a deal. And the really funny thing is that, so let's say 30 or 40% of the videos weren't good. The vast majority of emails I get are from people that found one that they love, right? You don't have to be perfect at anything. And once you start getting to the point where you realize that, then life really gets a hell of a lot better, right? If you take this sobriety thing, this month it will be my 8th year since I gave up heroin. And I didn't think that was a number that was possible, I promise you. But more importantly, if you take the number of times that I tried to quit heroin, right? I've been successful once. I bet you I tried 1,000 times, right? At least. I used to try almost every day. You know, I might not make it till 4 o'clock, but every day I got up and said, I'm not doing this today, man. I'm not doing this today. This is the day. I got to stop doing this. And then the pain would start setting in at about 11 o'clock, right? And by 1 o'clock, I'm vomiting and I would kick in. I would say, you know what? I can't do this. I can't do it. And then, you know, it just seemed like a lot of times it was just so easy to give in. I remember making it 4 days once. I laid in an apartment, a condominium that belonged to a friend of mine. And I was just laying in there, absolutely dying. And my mantra was, this is the one. Like, I'm not leaving here. And so the guy that owned the condo was watching me go through this. And it was, I imagine, rather distressing to him, because if you've never seen somebody in the throes of heroin withdrawal, it's a pretty ugly thing to see, right? And then, you know, you can't stop moving and you're vomiting and, you know, probably jumping into the shower to wash, you know, all of the funk off you, because it's very difficult to control either side of your body, so to speak. But he left, like, having a difficult time watching. He left because I guess he got, you know, tired of seeing and hearing the things that he was seeing, smelling the things that he was seeing, all of that. So what ended up happening is he ran into a mutual friend of ours, right? Named Rich. And he said, boy, you know, you should see Tommy. He's dying. Like, he is just dying. He said, and it's been going on for days. So Rich, being the kind man that he was, drove over to the condo with 2 grams of heroin. And he came in and said, man, I heard you're sick as hell. I got 2 G's. You know, you want to get well? Best of intentions, right? I failed because sitting right there on the table was something that was going to make me feel normal. And I had felt really bad for 4 days. But I wasn't all in. You understand? I wasn't all in. It's when you finally reach a point where the pain is not nearly as frightening as what will happen if you don't quit, right? I finally reached a point where I realized that I didn't have another chance. I didn't, right? You say, yeah, you fall down, you get back up, you dust yourself off. I do not have any other chances. Um, that's it. Like if I were to break the law again, if I were to catch another felony, it would be a federal offense because at this point, everything I'm now a federal inmate, right? And once you sort of get into the federal system, even if you do a state law, there's an excellent chance the feds are just going to pick it up and then they're going to call you a habitual criminal offender. But if I get one more, the sentence I get, I will never get out of prison. More importantly, if I get one more, there's no chance in hell that the drugs won't kill me. When I was addicted to opiates, for me, I had to fix probably 3 times a day, 3 good ones, to keep from being sick. Once I weaned myself off of opiates with methadone pills, I lowered the dose every day and it was working. I got down to 1 pill a day and I had 10 pills left. So I took all 10 of them to celebrate. I get that, man. There's nobody else, right? Outside of this kind of a group, there's nobody that would make sense to. But it makes perfect sense to me. And absolutely perfect sense to me. I've told this story on the boat before, but I was with the first woman that I was married to, and both of us were addicted. We had absolutely no money. At this point, I was not stealing. At this point, I was just spending money that I had. And thank you, Jana. I'm never going back. No fear. I am never going back. Seriously. I'm cured. I know they say don't say that. There's no chance in hell. There's nothing on this planet that could get me to do dope. Seriously. Not pain, not anything. I just won't do it. So, I don't take painkillers. I don't do any of that. But so we came up with $30. I borrowed some of it from a neighbor, but back then bags were $15 a piece. And they come in a balloon, right? They come in a balloon. If you've seen Train Spotting, you've probably seen what I'm talking about. But so I got 2 of these. And I had to go, and at the time I had a motorcycle and I had a car. And I don't know why. There had to be something wrong with the car because riding a motorcycle dope sick is probably the dumbest thing in the world. But I got on my motorcycle and I drove out to get this dope. And when I came back, like I just needed to get into the house and do this. And I was running and one of them fell out of my hand. And it was like something from a movie. I had a hole in the stairs, going up the stairs, concrete. There was a hole this big. That thing had to hit absolutely perfect. It was almost the same diameter as the hole, but it went right through. And I had 1 bag in my hand. And I just looked down and I was like, you got to be kidding me. I got a stick. I gave the 1 bag to my wife and said, just go do this. And she said, no, I'll split it with you. I'm like, nah, what the hell? Just go do it. Like, I'll get this. So I put gum on the end of a stick. I'm sticking it through the hole, right? To make a long story short, 4 hours later, I didn't have a back porch. I'm not kidding you. I did probably $1,600 damage, maybe more. Might have been $2,000. I don't know. But I took a sledgehammer and just started breaking away the stairs because I was going to find that damn bag. And, you think back on it and you go, what the hell? Like, how unbelievably messed up do you have to be? And this is the worst of it. You know what part of it I remember the most? The part of it I remember the most was looking up, and my son had obviously put down his video game controller, right? And he had walked to the window, and I'm covered in sweat, and I'm cursing like a sailor, and I look up, and he's just staring at me like, what the hell is wrong with that? The things that we do, right? That's an epic failure, correct? No, it's not. It really isn't. What I did that day is one of the things that keeps me sober now. At that point, I think he was 9, maybe 10. Old enough to remember, I promise you. Yeah, the diving into the toilet scene from Train Spotting is foul, but it's there's really the people that made that film had to have been addicted to heroin at some point. There are so many things in that film or they had people that that were consultants that really got it. You know what I mean? That really kind of understood it. And at the time I was working still as a public speaker. I was on an off time, so like 2 weeks later, we had somebody out there fixing the back porch, putting up brand new concrete steps. At that point, I wasn't breaking the law. It didn't matter how much I made. If I made $30,000 in a month, I would still be broke at the end of the month because we were just doing that much dope. And, you're a fan of that movie? That is a tough movie for me to watch. I'll be honest. I have not watched it since being sober, and I just don't think I will be able to watch it. I just don't. That's one of those things that I would imagine would be a tough one for me to watch. I saw it while on dope probably 100 times. I watched it a lot. I just don't think I could do it now. But I really try not to forget those moments. Those are the things that I will probably be in the car on the way to work when this stream ends, but I will still be here. Have a wonderful day, everyone. And I can't wait to see you later. Snotface, have a great day at the library. The actors are incredible. And the very last line in that movie, when Ewan McGregor does the, I'm going to pay taxes. you know the line I'm talking about. It is an incredible sort of soliloquy. And for everyone that's ever done dope, like he has to go and test the stuff, right? Man, it's just really a poignant movie. It really is. My wife's carrying our first child. He's 8. The lazy little. That's funny. That really is funny. So, fear of failure. Fear of failure. Honestly, no joke. Start a YouTube channel. Turn on a camera, sit in front of it, and just start talking. Because you're going to fail. You're going to be awful. You're going to make videos that just suck. You're going to look uncomfortable as hell in front of the camera. You're just not going to feel like you did anything right. And then film another one. And the fact that you put it up for people to see, right? That is one of the most cathartic things in the entire world. Thank you, Blake Richardson. I appreciate that. And he's right. You know what, people? It's nice when this boat grows, yeah? Hit that like button. It actually does help us grow. James, good to see you, my friend. Glad that you're here. Glad that you're here. And Trainee Human, I'm glad you're here. I know that we work with a different time zone. We have people on this boat from every single time zone. Full of Hope says never. Public speaking is one of the great things. I remember probably the most humbling experience of my life. I took a course in college and I didn't go very often, right? All right. Snotface, have a great day. So I was taking this course and I wasn't going. I was blowing it off. I was partying. So when you got toward the end of the semester, we had an ability to go do something, whether you were successful or not. DJ Daddio, glad that you're here. You had the ability to get up on stage and do a comedy routine. M. Hunt, I get that. I have always had a fear of both. For real. I always had a fear of both because I needed the baseline. I needed that feeling of, you know what? I'm not in the game. I'm not trying. I'm not failing and I'm not succeeding because I'm choosing not to do either. What I'm going to do is get high. What I'm going to do is do heroin. And I took myself off of that success failure wheel. And that is the worst failure of all. It really is. I mean, I was failing every day, but the dope was making it so that I didn't feel like a failure because I didn't feel anything. I was just doped out every single day and I didn't care about anything other than the next fix. So in this class I took in college, we had to do There was an open mic night at a comedy club. And if you went in there and did a 10-minute, you get up and you do a routine for 10 minutes, you got an A, not on for the course. Like, you're done. It was a public speaking thing. And I had such a low, grade in the class going into the end that I didn't have a choice. It was nothing about, hey, I want to do this. It was, if I don't do this, I'm going to fail this course. A performer trick is to look just above the audience's head. I'll tell you something. Over the years, the number of times I've done public speaking, I don't know that I could, honestly, it would be in the high hundreds, right? I did it for years. I was going around and, selling business opportunities and stuff in hotel rooms. And we just, other than about 3 weeks at Christmas and about 3 weeks in the summer, we were always on the road and always speaking. And in the very beginning, I heard all of the things, look right above their heads. I heard that one a lot. Try to imagine, this is the dumbest one ever. Try to imagine that everybody is naked. That is the dumbest piece of advice I've ever heard in my life. But you do hear that a lot. I am here to try to understand my son's struggles with H and alcohol. Hearing people's experiences and overcoming helps a lot. All right, T-Gun. I think that if anything, like no joke, like this is for you. The fact that you're here trying to understand your son is probably the coolest thing I've heard in months. In months. We tend to talk about, you hear people call you guys the normies, right? The people that have never had an addiction. And very often, those people who have never been there have absolutely no desire to try to understand us, right? They just think we're crazy. And it's such a difficult thing to have a conversation with somebody where you have to explain the unexplainable. So let me get this straight. You went to federal prison for bank robbery, and then you got out and started doing heroin again? Why would you do that? Well, there's no way to explain that to somebody other than somebody that's been there, because you're so uncomfortable in your own skin that there's no chance at all. Yes, M. Hunt's right. M. Hunt is absolutely right. Normies, yeah. People, hey, Bent Genetics. Good to see you, Bent. Yeah, love you, brother. Glad that you're here. Really good to see you. So I went and did that. Comedy club. It was the most uncomfortable thing I've ever done in my life. Public speaking has never been an issue. And you want a great piece of advice for public speaking, honestly? You really want? So if you get a crowd of people, whether that crowd would be, I wouldn't mind doing public speaking. However, I am terrified because what I did in active, I'm not brave enough. I'm a tortoise. I used to be pretty good. You know what? This is what made public speaking easy for me. All right. As I got older in life, as a kid, it didn't bother me. It really didn't. It just was one of those things that I never got. I believe that, Ben. I believe that. He says it's been a wild year. As I got older, public speaking meant making a living. And they were telling me what I had to say. They were telling me what subject I was going to be, doing. And there was a framework, and I had never really worked with a framework. I had just been able to get up there and talk about what I wanted to talk about. And kind of like I'm doing now. So when I was within the confines of a script and a what they wanted me to do, it got to be uncomfortable. And a really good size room for us was probably 3,000. A small room might be 75. That's an awful room, right? That's where we're losing money, big time losing money. The rooms of 75 were so much more difficult to do than the rooms of 4,000. If you say something that's remotely funny and you have 4,000 people in a room, if 50 start to laugh, the people around them are going to laugh and it will just catch a wave. It always happens, right? The people tend to follow and the crowd becomes one sort of organism, right? If you got 50 people and you say something funny and only 2 people laugh, the rest of them are not going to laugh. They're going to feel self-conscious and they're not going to laugh. And that makes anything that you're doing from the front of the stage difficult, really difficult. So I had a boss that sat me down one time and said, do you realize that the number one fear of everybody on the planet, like the number one fear listed is, wow, Grace, that's tough. I almost died from a bleeding ulcer, and when I drink, it scares me. Yet I can only make it dry for 30 days. Then I drink till it hurts. Too bad. Scaring me. Why? Addiction is a bitch. Absolutely. And let me tell you why, right? You nailed this, Grace. You nailed this. Yet I can only make it dry for 30 days. There is a difference between dry and sober. And I trust me on this one, right? I used to go like this. I'm not going to do it. I'm not going to do it. I'm not going to do it. Right? White knuckle. And I was thinking, I'm going to get there. There's no chance I'm going to do this. I don't care how bad I want to do it. The last time I figured, I'm going to figure out why the hell I want so badly to do it. If I can figure out what is driving me to want to do something that is so bad for me, then I'll have this thing beat. Because I assure you, and this goes for everybody, you're not catching a buzz because you like the buzz. That might have been the way it started. But then we get to a point where we do drugs or we drink to either make something go away, make us forget something, make it easier to deal with something. We now have a firebug. 3 fires in a week. The second one, we next to the house. Scary fighting a fire with a garden hose. Good Lord. Bent, that's incredible. I'm going to pray for you, bud. I think Bent could use some prayers, people. That's rugged. That really is rugged. So true. It has stolen everything from him. And I didn't know him at all. He had changed so much when he was in his darkest place. But I'm so proud of him as he's overcoming. You know what? It's a difficult substance to overcome. It really is. And the fact that you're supporting him is such a huge thing. I used to white knuckle. It doesn't last. You need to resolve the cause, right? You have to address the problem. Jen has got this. And Grace, you don't want to be dry. You want to be sober. You want to be happy in a life. You don't want to think. And then all of us do this, right? I did it when I finally said, I can't do this stuff ever again, right? I just came to the conclusion that I was never going to be happy again. But that beat being incarcerated, or that beat screwing over all of the people that I cared about. It was worth not being happy. I've come to realize that that's just such a sick and twisted concept, but everybody thinks it in the beginning. I can't drink anymore. Well, there goes all the fun, right? I'm never going to have fun again. I have more fun now than I've ever had in my life. For real. I take joy in things that I didn't realize it was possible to take joy in. You have to reprogram your brain. That malfunctioning reward center. I have a question for you, Grace. Since your substance of abuse, your drug of choice was alcohol, have you ever noticed that when you need that first drink and you're really stressing out and everything just sounds awful, right? You're just miserable. You take that first sip and the second it touches your lips, you instantly feel better. Okay, well, science says it's going to be 15 or 20 minutes before that leaks through the sides of your stomach, gets into your bloodstream, goes up to your brain, and does that, right? So how is it that you feel better instantly? How is it that as a heroin addict, if I get the bag in my hand, the dope man comes and I get the bag in my hand and I get in the car, my shaking stops, right? The pain in my stomach stops. What happened is the reward center of my brain knows I've got the dope. The reward center in your brain knows you just started drinking. So when that booze touches your lips, the chemicals are already getting released. You understand that we're not just fighting the buzz. We're fighting a brain that's telling us that the buzz is the most important thing we've ever done in our lives. If you can reprogram the reward center of your brain, if you can get it to give you the same chemicals that you were getting from that taste, or the same chemicals you were getting from that dope, then you won't need it anymore. Plain and simple, you won't need it anymore. So I get emails all the time too that say, how do you make a living doing what you're doing? This is not how I make a living. I do put a lot of time into it, but this is not how I make a living. Um, I make a living selling watches. Lifeboat. Scroll up to Bent. Okay, hold on. Hold on. They move really quickly. I apologize. No, the wife does. Found a rare bone tumor in the hand with the dog bite. No, they want to treat her like a science project. Bent, I am, yeah, this is full of hope. This has been going on for so long. Bent has been, this is a new phase, but Ben's wife has been fighting this for well over a year. You know, since I've known him, well over a year. And it's the most difficult thing in the world. And I can't imagine. I truthfully can't imagine, man. I can't even think of anything intelligent to say. I really can't. I have no idea what that must feel like. I can't imagine. But my thoughts and prayers are with you, man. And we're always here. If you just want to come and be among friends, you can call whenever too. You know, that's a tough road, man. It really is. Especially for someone who's been addicted. That's such a tough road. Yeah, DJ Daddy, thank you. Thank you. Thanks, Boat. You know, it's, yeah. You know what, M. Hunt? There's really something to that, isn't there? There have been a lot of odd dog attacks in the news recently. I've been hearing about this a lot. And I don't know. Things do seem to come in waves, but this seems like it's been a lot of them. Yeah, I hate it too. And I'm a big fan of animals, but it's just really a tough situation all the way around. I'm tired. That's why I'm late. I had to sleep in. Well, Scoob, we're glad you got some sleep. Dogs hate 5G too. That could be, you know that? Well, Luke Skywalker, I'm glad that something here. Hey, the Hopatographer. When I relapsed and lost 9.5 years, my ex, her daughter, and I were shooting pool. Her daughter was 21, but didn't bring her. Oh, it didn't bring her ID. So when they were looking at her, for drinking the drink, I faked a sip. Oh, you got to be kidding. Peace to all. Dogs going crazy like people. I mean, it's just been really, really unbelievable. Yeah, I got that Hopatographer so that they would think it was mine, and that's all it took. Because your brain was going to release chemicals that told you that sip was the most important thing you had ever done in your life. And as I started this show with today, dopamine is not, the pleasure stuff that everybody says it is. It's teaching you to seek. It's telling you to seek something out. That's what it does, right? So if your substance is alcohol, when you taste it, it's telling you to go get the next one. You'll hear people with alcohol abuse disorder say all of the time, I only drink one drink, because that drink drinks the second and the third and the fourth, because after that first one, you can't make a decision anymore. That decision is being made by alcohol. And it's the same thing with any drug, really. But you see it more with alcohol. Because, with tar, in the beginning, you can only do it once a day, and that's enough. There's a lot to that. Negative neurofeedback. Messaging in our body, we're only just learning about. Yeah. True M. Hunt. Let's see what we got here. People can't control their dogs because they can't control themselves. Yeah, there's a lot of truth to that. Sorry. I wish I was one of those people who gets dopamine from exercise. I got news for you. Everybody gets dopamine from exercise. It's true. You may have to do it a different amount of time. You may have to do a different kind of exercise, but everybody gets dopamine from exercise. It's just a very difficult way to do it. And yeah, I get dopamine from walking. These days, I try to make sure that the things that I do all bring me joy. On an order of magnitude, more with alcohol, it completely changes your thought structure. It absolutely does. It absolutely does. If you're sober, don't date someone still using. Stop going to the junkyard to find a limo. Goosebump, it may be a situation where it may be one of those things that you have to break through. If, for those of you who journal, right? Journaling becomes something that you literally can't do without, right? You just become uncomfortable as hell. If you don't journal at night, you really, really get upset, right? And if you don't journal in the morning, you really start getting upset. Well, the same thing will happen with exercise, but that didn't happen the first day you journaled, right? You had to make it habitual because dopamine is chasing the next behavior. If you tell your body that exercise is important to you, if you start exercising every single day within 2 weeks, 3 weeks, whatever the magic number is for you, it will have become a habit. And when it becomes habitual, what makes something habitual? Your body shooting out dopamine, telling you to do it again. That's what a habit is, right? That's what makes something habitual. Well, and there's something to this. Wow. Boy, we are cooking. For the dopamine to really hit you, you have to do a certain kind of exercise, like getting your heart rate up to a certain amount. Or am I totally wrong on that one? No, you're not wrong. But it doesn't necessarily have to be heart rate. What it has to be is challenging. If you feel like you're overcoming something, and one of the reasons people love running is because that is a challenge, right? And you have to continue to work through the pain. And if you do that, well, then you're getting endorphins. And endorphins do all kinds of great stuff, right? But I do yoga and get the same feeling. When I'm done doing yoga, like every muscle in my body hurts for a very short period of time. Because when the chemicals kick in, that all goes away. I got to call my physical therapist and schedule for Thursday. I feel like I canceled your last physical therapy appointment. Scoob was having problems with her phone. I believe I actually called up and canceled that. Wow. Been alcohol free for a few years, says Bent. This is by far the easiest year. So anyone quitting, it does get easier. And you know something, people? If you knew what that man has quit in the face of, right? Been a rugged couple of years for Ben. And once it does get easier, it gets easier every single day. Yeah, this group is addictive in a good way. And you know something? Make no mistake, it's because you're going to get a dopamine hit from being here. And not because I'm so damn good, but because you're communicating with people who are all like-minded, right? And we're all working to try to better ourselves. That's the kind of thing that your brain really should, right? If your reward center is working well, this is the kind of thing it should reward you for. It should tell you, you should be doing this instead of playing video games. You should be doing this instead of sitting on the couch doing nothing. If you're doing something that is making you a better person or making you work toward being a better person, that's a big deal. I'll have 6 years back this month. Hobotographer, congratulations, man. 6 years. Very long time. A very, very long time. That is impressive. I love the fact that we've got so many people and that are just doing so well. You know, for real. I run old playlists while I'm working. Keeps positivity up. Love that. Love that. Avoid the Stroming one. There's something about watching the captain vomit, which probably does not motivate. I'm down to wake and bake versus beer for breakfast. Well, you're a hell of a lot better off with a wake and bake than you are beers for breakfast. I'm not going to argue that point. I've gone through periods of exercising 30 minutes in a challenging way 5 times per week. for months and never felt endorphins from it. If endorphins literally are only going to kick in when pain gets to the point that endorphins are your body's natural painkillers, right? So if 30 minutes didn't do it, you got to do 40, or you got to make the weights heavier or whatever. I'll tell you something that's insane. You can get an endorphin rush from eating peppers. Trust me on this one. If you're eating Carolina Reapers or you're eating chocolate boulas, you're eating a pepper that has so much capsaicin in it that your body's never felt anything like this, right? Your body literally, the first time you eat a Carolina Reaper, thinks you're going to die. There's never been pain like that. There's no experience. You may have felt that on your foot if you drop something on it, right? But this pain is in your mouth. And there's all of these like bizarre senses going on. And your brain thinks, you know what? Tommy's not going to make it through this. And they release a crap load of endorphins. And when it happens, you go from just being panicking, and then all of a sudden it just sort of mellows out. And if you've never seen it, go over and watch Chase the Heat. You can watch it happen to my brother on a regular basis because he does. My brother eats ridiculous amounts of peppers on the daily. Yeah, goosebumps. We're just going to have to get you a different routine, honestly, because what it comes right down to is you have to be feeling really heavy amounts of pain for endorphins to kick in. I'm trying umami. All right. Probably the most slammed I've ever been is off an endorphin rush from pepper, says M. Hunt. A lot of truth to that. And trust me, M. Hunt has tried every other way to be slammed. And I don't mean that with disrespect, M. Hunt. Stand for Truth says, yeah, I get high off of peppers for sure. There are so many people. Hey, from Australia, going to bed here on a Monday night. Love what you bring. RGB 18, we have a ton of people from Australia. A lot of Aussies on this channel. A lot of them. And who really participate. We've got a lot of Aussie friends. Yeah, do the insanity workout. I did the insanity workout in prison. Oh, no, I didn't. I did P90X. The insanity was the next one coming. Chai is highly relative to endorphins. I get mine from Chai Machine, no effort. If Jennifer Rice, who by the way is not Jennifer Rice, but if Jennifer Rice says that, trust Jennifer Rice. He knows what he's talking about. Yeah, sweet dreams, RGB. I could try that, I guess. You know what? You could try peppers. You could also, I'll email you. I got things that you can do that I will guarantee you will give you endorphins. I guarantee it. Yeah, I guarantee it. Good day, says RGB18. All right, peeps, you know what that means? That means we're at the top of the hour. In fact, I think I might have gone a few minutes over. All right, we will be back 12 hours from right now. No, 11 hours from right now. We will be meeting at 5 o'clock between now and then. Reach out and try to save somebody, eh? And if that somebody is you, get on it. By the way, Squirrel is in the garage. She'll be working tonight. She had the morning off. God bless, people. Much love.